The sun hung low over Umwoko village, painting the dusty road in a golden glow. Children played, women pounded yam, and gossip floated everywhere like smoke. But in the middle of the noise walked a young man everyone loved to mock. Chidera, his shirt was torn at the neck. His trousers had patches, his slippers were almost finished. And every time he walked past, villagers whispered loudly on purpose, "Fine boy way no get shishi." Handsome for nothing, poverty done finish am. Some laughed, some pointed, some insulted him to his face. Most ignored him completely, but nobody, not even one person, knew the secret truth. Chidera was a billionaire, not small money, not pretend or real. Quiet billionaire who owned companies, estates, and businesses in Lagos, but here in the village. He wore torn clothes because he chose to. He wasn't running away, he wasn't hiding from trouble. He was looking for a wife who would love him without money. In Lagos, every girl he dated only came close for his wealth. Fake smiles, fake love, fake promises, so he made a decision. Let me disguise. Let me go to grandmother's house. Let me see if a woman can love me when I have nothing. So he arrived in Umwoko. He worked on farms, he carried firewood for people. He fetched water for small money, he humbled himself. But still nobody wanted him. One afternoon, as he was returning from a farm job, he met Ifunanya, the village beauty. Her skin glowed. Her waist was small, her face fine like carved wood. And she knew it. Chidera greeted gently. "Good afternoon." Ifunanya looked at him from head to toe and hissed, "You this dirty human being," she snapped. "Can't you see how fine I am? You think I'll talk to someone that looks like a beggar?" People around laughed. "Ugly poverty boy, go and wash yourself." Chidera just smiled and walked away. His heart wasn't angry, just disappointed, but fate was preparing a different encounter. The girl by the stream. Her name was Uloma, a gentle, quiet girl with a pure heart. She lived with her stepmother, who treated her like a slave. No rest, no love, no kindness, only insults. That evening, Uloma carried her clay pot to the stream. Her body was tired. The marks of her stepmother's wickedness were on her back, but she still hummed a soft song as she walked. At the same time, Chidera was returning from the farm, sweat on his forehead. They met at the narrow footpath near the stream. Chidera greeted, "Good evening." Uloma stopped, surprised. Most boys ignored her or mocked her because her clothes were old, but she smiled back. "Good evening," she replied politely. That single smile, that simple respect hit Chidera's heart differently. They talked for a moment, just small greetings, but Ifunanya's cousin, who was hiding behind a tree, saw Uloma talking to the poor dirty boy. She ran home immediately. "Mama, Mama," she shouted, "I saw Uloma with that poverty boy at the stream." They were doing something. The accusation as Uloma reached home. Her stepmother's voice thundered, "You useless girl. So you have started sleeping with men with that rag of a boy." Before she could speak, the woman pushed her outside. "Leave my house today. You will not bring shame on me." "Get out," Uloma begged, cried, knelt down. Nothing worked. Her stepmother threw her clothes into the dust and locked the door. Alone at the riverbank with nowhere to go, Uloma walked back to the stream and sat near the water. Tears mixed with her song as she hugged her knees. Then a calm voice behind her said, "Uloma, why are you crying?" She turned. It was Chidera. He sat beside her, listening as she explained everything. Her stepmother, the lies, the rejection. Chidera's heart tightened. He couldn't leave her there. "Come with me," he said softly. "My grandmother will take you." And Uloma hesitated, afraid of gossip, but she had no home ipso. She followed him. The village starts talking. When villagers saw Uloma entering Grandma Malika's compound with Chidera, they burst into laughter. So the two poorest people in the whole village have joined together. Perfect match, birds of the same poverty feather. Nobody knew the truth. Nobody knew the power sleeping under those torn clothes. And that night, as Uloma lay on a small mat inside Grandma's hut, Chidera watched her through the doorway and made a promise in his heart. "Let me protect her. Let me change her life. She doesn't know it yet, but she will be the wife of a billionaire." The next morning, the village was already full of noise before the sun climbed up. women going to market, children chasing goats, men sharpening cutlasses. And in the middle of that movement, the news spread like wildfire. Uloma is now living with that poor farm boy. People gossiped as if their lives depended on it. Two poor people together, one wearing torn clothes, the other wearing suffering. They fit themselves while Uloma heard everything. She lowered her head, wishing she could disappear, but Chidera, he remained calm like he couldn't hear anything. Grandma Omalaha came outside with her walking stick and shouted at the gossipers in a no-get. Work if the girl no get where to stay. Should we leave her to sleep inside bush? Leave my children alone. The villagers scattered small, but gossip continued in corners. Uloma's first morning in peace. For the first time in years, Uloma slept without her stepmother shouting at her. When she woke, she smelled something sweet, fresh pap and akara. She stepped out shyly. Chidera had already lit the fire and was frying akara beside. Grandma, he smiled when he saw her. You're awake. Come and eat. Uloma blinked. She wasn't used to someone caring for her. Most people ignored her. Many laughed at her. But this boy in torn clothes, he treated her like a human being. She sat on a low stool and ate slowly. Grandma watched her with soft eyes. Your heart is pure. Grandma said, don't let wicked people change you. Uloma almost cried from the kindness. Later that afternoon, as Chidera and Uloma were washing the plates together, Ifunanya passed by swinging her waist like a pendulum. She laughed loudly when she saw them. So this is the girl you went to carry to poverty, people washing plates like husband and wife. How wonders. Uloma looked down in shame, but Chidera raised his head and answered calmly, if helping someone makes me a fool, then I'm proud to be one. Ifunanya hissed. He didn't know she was disrespecting a billionaire. Chidera starts falling deeper. Every little thing Uloma did touched Chidera. The way she said thank you even when he gave her little things. How she always smiled, even with her pain. How she washed grandma's clothes without being asked. How she never complained about hunger or work. One evening, as they sat outside watching fireflies, Chidera looked at her quietly. If this girl can love me like this, when I have nothing, how much more when she knows who I truly am? But he wasn't ready to reveal his identity yet. He needed to be sure her heart was real. The stepmother's plan. Meanwhile, Uloma's stepmother was boiling with anger. How dare that girl embarrass me by running to a poor boy's house? She didn't know that she pushed Uloma into the arms of the very man who could change her life forever. Ifunanya's cousin whispered to her auntie, I heard they are living like lovers. The woman's eyes widened. Over my dead body. That girl will suffer. A storm was coming the night that changed everything. That night, Uloma stepped outside to fetch water. The moonlight touched her face gently. Chidera watched from a distance, and something in his heart whispered, this is your wife. But before he could speak to her, they heard footsteps, fast, angry, coming toward the compound. Grandma looked up nervously. Who is that? A voice thundered from outside the gate. Uloma, come out here now. Her stepmother had arrived, and she wasn't alone. The wooden gate shook violently as Uloma's stepmother banged on it. Open this gate, open it this minute, you Uloma. You disgrace of a girl. Grandma Omalaha stood slowly, leaning on her walking stick. My daughter, calm down. Why are you shouting in my compound at this? Oh, the stepmother pushed her aside and stormed in with two village women. Behind her, women who loved gossip more than food. She pointed at Uloma like she was pointing at a snake. So you ran away from my house to follow a useless boy. So you left my home to go and be doing husband and wife with this poverty-stricken farmer. Uloma shook her head, tears filling her eyes. No, Mama, I didn't do anything. You chased me out. Shut up, the woman screamed. You will not talk back to me. She turned to the villagers who gathered outside the gate, enjoying the drama. Look at her. I raised her. I fed her. And now she sneaks around the village in the night with dirty men. The insult hit Chidera hard. He stepped forward, his calm eyes glowing with hidden fire. Madam, please, he said quietly, stop insulting her. She did nothing wrong. The stepmother burst into laughter. You a boy that cannot afford ordinary slippers. How dare you talk while adults are speaking? The crowd laughed at Funanya, who stood at the back, smirked proudly. Chidera took a breath and faced the angry woman. If protecting her makes me poor in your eyes, then I am poor. The woman has let her pack her load. She must follow me home and face punishment. Uloma trembled. She had no strength left to go back to that kind of suffering. No, she whispered, I can't go back. Her stepmother's eyes widened with rage. You are refusing me, you this useless girl. After everything I did for you, you want to become a prostitute with this ragged boy. Chidera stepped in front of Uloma, blocking her. With all due respect, he said, voice firm, she's not going anywhere. The village gasped loudly and a poor boy is talking back to mama. Uloma grandma Amalaha raised her hand. Enough, the girl will stay here. Tonight, tomorrow we settle the mat. But the stepmother wasn't done. The humiliation, she marched to Uloma, grabbed her by the hair, and tried to drag her away. Uloma cried out in pain. Chidera's chest tightened. Something snapped in him. He rushed forward and gently but firmly removed the woman's hand. Don't touch her again. The woman stepped back, shocked that he dared to stop her. You think this girl is your wife? You and who? To failures. Chidera didn't shout. He didn't insult her back. He simply said, I don't need to be rich to protect someone who has no one. Those words shocked the crowd for the first time. Some villagers stopped laughing. Uloma chooses her fate. The stepmother pointed at Uloma. Choose, are you coming home with me? Or will you stay here with this beggar boy? Uloma looked at her stepmother, then at Chidera, who had tears in his eyes but didn't show it, and at Grandma Amalaha, whose arms were open with kindness. For the first time in her life, Uloma felt safe. She wiped her tears and whispered, I will stay. Her rep crowd gasped. Her stepmother screamed, you will regret this. You will crawl back to me one day. Let poverty finish the both of you. She stormed out of the compound with her followers. Silence fell. Uloma broke down, crying. Chidera slowly wrapped his arm around her shoulder, not touching too much, but enough to comfort. Grandma sighed deeply. My children, your story is just beginning. Chidera looked at Uloma and made a promise in his heart, no matter what it takes, I will give this girl the life she deserves. Little did he know, fate was about to test that promise in a way he never imagined. The next morning, Amoko village woke with more gossip than market day. Everyone had heard what happened the night before. Uloma refused to go home. She chose that poor boy. Maybe they are doing love in that old woman's house. But inside Grandma Amalika's hut, the atmosphere was peaceful. Uloma helped Grandma sweep the compound, fetched water, and washed plates. Chidera watched from a corner, pretending not to stare. Her gentleness, her humility, her honesty, every moment made her more beautiful to him. A secret phone call after breakfast. Chidera stepped behind the house and pulled out a small phone one nobody in the village had ever seen him with. He dialed a number. Good morning, sir. A deep voice answered. Manager. How is the Lagos headquarters? Chidera asked quietly. Everything is running smoothly, sir. The board is expecting you at the next meeting. Tell them I'll return soon, Chidera replied. And prepare the new house I asked for. Yes, sir. It will be ready. Chidera ended the call. He smiled. He was preparing something big. The village men come to mock him later that afternoon. Some of the village men saw Uloma and Chidera walking to the stream to wash clothes. They laughed loudly when they saw the pair. One hungry boy and one abandoned girl. Perfect combination. Chidera, the farm slave. One man shouted, Uloma, better leave this boy before poverty kill you. Uloma lowered her head in shame. Chidera kept quiet, but his jaw tightened. He wanted to shout, I am a billionaire. I own more than all of you combined, but he didn't. He needed to be sure. Uloma loved him even in insults, even in shame. The first test of love as they sat by the stream washing clothes. Uloma suddenly asked softly, Chidera, aren't you tired of helping me? Aren't you ashamed that people laugh at you because of me? He looked up, surprised. Uloma, why would I be ashamed? She blinked, confused. Because you have nothing People mock us, they say I'm dragging you down. Chidera dropped the cloth gently and faced her. Do you think I'm helping you out of pity? She shook her head slowly. I'm helping you because you deserve better. And I'm not poor the way people think. Uloma looked at him confused. But before she could ask questions, a familiar angry voice cut through the air. The return of the stepmother. Uloma's stepmother stormed to the stream, dragging a group of village women behind her. There she is, she shouted, washing clothes with her lover boy. The women clapped and mocked them. Shameless girls, so young and already following men. Look at the poverty you chose. Tears filled Uloma's eyes as her stepmother grabbed her wrist violently. You are coming home today. Enough disgrace. Uloma struggled. Mama, please stop. Chidera stood up immediately. Leave her, he said, voice calm but firm. She chose to stay with us. You chased her out. Her stepmother turned to him, eyes burning with hatred. You think you can keep her? Do you have money to feed her? Do you have land? Do you have a house? You are nothing. The crowd laughed louder. Uloma covered her face. That was the moment something inside Chidera finally snapped. The reveal begins. Chidera stepped forward slowly. His voice was steady to steady. You have insulted me enough. You have insulted her enough. But you see, everything you believe about me is wrong. The women blinked, confused. What are you saying? Which poor boy is talking like chief? Chidera removed the old cap on his head. For the first time they saw his face clearly, his perfect jawline, sharp eyes and clean features. Then he spoke. I am not who you think I am. The crowd murmured. Even Uloma stared at him, shocked. I am not a beggar. I am not broke. I am not suffering. The stepmother hissed. So what are you? A magician. Chidera smiled slowly, fearlessly. I am Chidera Chukwuma, owner of Chukwuma Holdings, one of the largest companies in Lagos. A billionaire. Silence fell. The laughter died. Instantly, a bird could have flown across the stream and everyone would hear its wings. Uloma froze. Her stepmother's mouth hung open. The gossip women dropped their buckets. Chidera continued. I came to this village dressed as a poor boy because I wanted to know who would love me. Without money, he turned to Uloma. And you passed every test. Her stepmother staggered back, speechless. Uloma faints. The shock was too much. Uloma's eyes rolled and she fainted into Chidera's arms. The villagers screamed. Uloma has fainted. Pour water on her. Hey, Chidera is a billionaire. Chidera lifted her gently. Make way, he ordered. I'm taking her home. His voice carried authority like a king. For the first time, the villagers obeyed him without question as Chidera carried Uloma in his arms. Whispers filled the air. She rejected poverty but didn't know she accepted a billionaire, and the real story was just beginning. Uloma opened her eyes slowly. At first, everything was blurry. Grandma's ceiling, the soft sound of a cock crowing somewhere far away, and then Chidera's face came into view. He was sitting beside her, eyes full of worrying. Uloma, are you awake? He asked softly. She blinked again. Confused. Chidera, what happened? Why is everybody looking at me? Did I faint? Chidera smiled gently. Yes, you fainted at the stream. She sat up slowly. Her heart thundered as the memory returned. You said you are a billionaire. Chidera held her hand carefully, like she was something fragile and precious. I am, he said honestly. But I didn't want money to choose a wife for me. I wanted a woman who would love me when I have nothing. And Uloma, you saw me as a person, not a pocket. Her eyes widened, tears filling them. But why me? I have nothing. I don't even have a home. Chidera leaned closer. You have a heart, a pure one. That is what I need, not money. Just as Uloma was about to speak, they heard footsteps approaching the compound. Loud, heavy, dramatic footsteps. Grandma muttered. Trouble has come again. Uloma's stepmother rushed into the hut, shouting in a fake, worried voice, my daughter, my precious daughter. I heard you fainted. Oh, my only child, my heart, my everything. Grandma almost choked on laughter. Chidera sat calmly, watching the drama. The stepmother ran to Uloma's bed, holding her hand like a caring mother. My baby, forgive me. I trained you well. I only wanted the best for you. If I knew you were talking to a billionaire. She quickly corrected herself. I mean, if I knew you were talking to a good boy, I wouldn't have chased you. Uloma stared at her, Shocked, even Chidera raised an eyebrow so quickly just because of money. The woman continued acting, "You know I love you. I raised you like my own. I cook for you, feed you, protect you." Uloma finally found her voice. "You beat me, you insult me, you call me useless every day." The stepmother held her chest dramatically. "Me beat you, never. It is wicked people that lie like this." Chidera stood up slowly. "Madam," he said calmly, "before we talk about love, I have one question." The stepmother smiled sweetly. "Yes. My billionaire son, when Uloma was hungry, where was your love when she cried every night? Where were you when you threw her out like she was nothing? Where was this caring heart you are pretending to have?" The woman's face tightened. I was just correcting her. That's how African mothers." Chidera cut her off gently. "No, that's how wicked people behave." The whole compound was silent. The woman's chest rose and fell. She didn't know how to pretend anymore. Uloma turned her face away. "I will not go back with you," she whispered. "You don't love me. You only want to use me now because you think Chidera is rich." The stepmother froze like a statue. Then she dropped to her knees dramatically. "Forgive me. Forgive your mother." Grandma scoffed. "You only came here to eat billionaire money. Please shift. A decision is made." Chidera helped Uloma stand. She held his arm. Still weak, he looked at her stepmother. "One final time from today, Uloma stays with me and Grandma. She is safe here." The woman tried to protest, but Chidera raised one finger. "And as for her care, I will make sure she lacks nothing again." The stepmother's eyes shone with greedy excitement. "My daughter, my sweet, beautiful daughter. Come home tomorrow so we can." Uloma shook her head. "No, my home is here." Her stepmother's mouth dropped open for the first time. The woman realized she had lost her power forever, hissed loudly, carried her wrapper, and stormed out the confession. Chidera turned back to Uloma. "Uloma," he said softly, "now that you know who I truly am, will you still allow me to be close to you?" Her eyes filled again. "I didn't fall in love with money," she whispered. "I fell in love with you. The boy who defended me, protected me, and gave me a place to stay when I had nobody." Chidera's heart melted. He held her hands, both of them trembling with emotion. "Then let me say this properly," he breathed. He knelt lightly on one knee. "Not with a ring, not with diamonds, but with sincerity. Uloma, will you allow me to build a life with you?" Her tears dropped onto his hands. "Yes, Chidera, yes." Grandma clapped her hands and shouted, "God don do am." Finally, love dawn went over wickedness. The ending. News spread across the village that Chidera, the poor boy, was a billionaire, and he chose the girl nobody wanted. People who mocked them kept quiet. Stepmother almost ran mad, but none of that mattered. Chidera whispered to Uloma, "You were never the poor one." It was their hearts that were empty, and Uloma smiled, knowing her life had finally changed forever. They planned to go back to the city after their marriage. A plan to do their wedding in the city and their traditional marriage in the village. The marriage day, everyone in the village witnessed it. Everyone watched Uloma dancing with palm wine on her hand. She kneeled down and gave to Chidera. Chidera stand up. They started dancing, the Odogan money spender. Chidera friends came for the marriage. They spring money on them. The dance like never before. Uloma was so happy. Also Chidera. Now Chidera tone when he began spraying money on Uloma. Ifunaya fainted on Uloma. One of the bouncer dragging her out. The marriage was so huge her stepmother regret her action. After their marriage, Chidera take her to the city. When Uloma step out of the SUV in Chidera compound, luxurious mansion, she said to her mind, God can change anyone's story. People may mock you today, but tomorrow the same people will be the ones celebrating you. Never look down on anybody. God the different from men ways. The step into their luxurious living room. Chidera asked her, do you like this place? If you don't like this place, I can take you the other of my mansion. Uloma smile. She said, I love it. They did their white wedding in the city. Then they went for their honeymoon. One evening, Chidera looked at her and said, I'm so lucky to have you. Uloma Minor said, it's like a dream. They called you a dirty boy. Chidera looked at her and said, they called you a slave. But here we are. Those people are there. I thank you for no looking down on me. After their honeymoon, Chidera gave her one of his company to mileage as a CEO after 9 months. Uloma, she gave birth to twins, the boy and a girl. Chidera sitting beside her smiling. He said, "Glory be to God Almighty. I want to use this opportunity to tell you that Jesus love you," and he said, "He's coming again, and me and you don't know when it's coming. He can come at anytime we did not expect it, so is now that is not yet come that we are still alive. We have the grace and the opportunity to repent for our sins and give our life to him. He said, no matter sin that you have committed, he will forgive you. Old things are passed away. Give your life to him today is waiting. Don't miss this opportunity. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so you don't miss our next story.